On the campaign trail, Donald Trump has been very, very clear that he wants to eliminate the Department of Education. Trump's plan to eliminate the Department of Education maps evenly onto the aims and goals of Project 2025, which calls for the defunding of the Department of Education and that its federal responsibilities be transferred to other areas within the federal government and that funding be left to the states. This has serious implications for schools that are located in significantly underfunded geographic areas. But what is the buy-in for Trump to take schools away from federal oversight to hand them over to autonomous state decision-making? Meet Ryan Walters. Ryan is the superintendent for Oklahoma State Public School Instruction. Ryan believes that the Bible should be taught in K through 12 classrooms, regardless of the establishment clause that is located in the First Amendment, which provides for the separation of church and state. So when Ryan assumed office in January of 2023, it is little wonder then that 130 personnel left the department. But along with them leaving, Ryan instituted his personal belief within the public schools of Oklahoma that the Bible is a historical text that every teacher must teach.
It is essential that our kids have an understanding of the Bible in its historical context. So we will be issuing a memo today that every school district will adhere to, which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom and will be teaching from the Bible in the classroom to ensure that this historical understanding is there for every student in the state of Oklahoma in accordance with our academic standards and state law.
Ryan's memo that K through 12 schools in the state of Oklahoma must now teach the Bible came just 2 days after the state Supreme Court in Oklahoma ruled that a contract that existed between a state charter school and a Catholic school violated both the laws of the state of Oklahoma as well as the U.S. Constitution because, well, separation of church and state. Now, Ryan's conservative politics doesn't come as a surprise or a shock for many. At the very least, his FEC records reveal that Ryan has donated to the Oklahoma Leadership Council, who in their files disclose that their political action committee supporter is Trump 47, which is a super PAC that is designed to fundraise for Donald Trump to get back into the White House. For the current election cycle, their records reflect that the Oklahoma Leadership Council has raised just over $1.5 million, with a considerable amount of that being donated to the Republican National Committee, where Laura Trump, who is Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, is the co-chair. As Ryan instituted that the Bible be taught in K through 12 schools in Oklahoma, he put in some parameters that were needed in order for the Bible that he wanted to be taught to be placed into classrooms. Those parameters were that the Bible must have both the Old and New Testament, that it must also contain the Declaration of Independence, the United States Constitution, as well as the Pledge of Allegiance, along with the Bill of Rights, and also a chorus from the God Bless America song that was written by Lee Greenwood. Also, what he added on there was that the Bible had to be leather bound or bound with a leather-like material. Interestingly, this structure that was put in place within the document that was put out by Ryan excluded many distributors of Bibles, so they were not able to take advantage of the financial windfall that they would have received from the state of Oklahoma because of Ryan's mandate. However, interestingly, one Bible fit the bill perfectly. But God blessed the USA Bible, which Lee Greenwood himself constructed and was endorsed by Donald Trump. Furthermore, Greenwood's Bible received license to use Donald Trump's name in affiliation with his Bible. What this meant was that for every Bible sold, Trump received and continues to receive a percentage of the sales.
Love you, Christians. I'm not Christian. I love you. Get out. You got to get out and vote.
To meet the mandate of Ryan's biblical requirement would mean that at least 55,000 of Trump and Greenwood's Bible would need to be purchased. That totals roughly about $3.3 million. Now, many in the state of Oklahoma, indeed across the United States, are wondering where exactly is that money going to come from? Particularly considering the fact that education is one of those areas that often experience a challenge in funding, whether it be at the federal level, state, or municipal. Now, coincidentally, the proposed budget that Ryan advanced called for funding for 227 full-time employees. However, the education department in the state of Oklahoma only has 385 full-time employees. State Senator Adam Pugh, who serves on the Education Committee, stated that the difference between these full-time employee numbers represents about $3 to $4 million. In other words, as the taxpayers of Oklahoma pay for positions, ghost positions perhaps, that are not filled, the money, in turn, is being sent to both Donald Trump and Lee Greenwood, as those who need employment remain unemployed. According to Donald Trump's latest financial disclosures, he has already made approximately $300,000 from his licensing agreement with Greenwood's Bible, with Ryan Walters via Oklahoma's Education Department, intending to buy at least 55,000 of these Bibles. That means that millions will now line the pockets of both Donald Trump and Lee Greenwood. Trump's efforts to capitalize off of the Education Department in Oklahoma does not exactly take place in isolation. Rather, it maps evenly with the Heritage Foundation's push for education savings accounts via the work of activists like Corey DeAngelis, which I covered in this TikTok. So when Tina Peters, the former Mesa County clerk in Colorado, was sentenced to 9 years for attempting to overturn the 2020 election in Colorado for Donald Trump, it wasn't necessarily the only area in which Trump supporters attempted to exert influence. Those who espouse conservative religious beliefs attempted to overtake school board races across the state. And contestation over religious texts being taught in state-funded preschools also ensued. For his part, Donald Trump positioned his financial portfolio to take advantage of whatever may come. He purchased Mesa County School District bonds. Seemingly for Trump, everything is for sale. And we are being offered a preview of what a second Trump presidency may look like. The defunding and dismantling of the Department of Education at the federal level so that his personal pockets can be lined, even if that means selling the Bible. I'll see you next time. Peace.